Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 84. Hope you guys all had a good new year and you're ready to get after it in 2023. So coming at you today, we're hanging out with the amazing Luke Griffith from New Wave out of Austin, Texas. He's an up-and-coming amazing brown belt under John Danaher and Gordon Ryan. Amongst many other things, he is a top-level grappler from South Africa. So sit back, relax, throw those headphones on, and enjoy the show. We'd also like to thank all our friends who help and support Chad and I do this show each and every week. Magic City Brewing Company located in Akron, Ohio. LimitLess Tape, M&H Beans, Gateway Dental Care, Lashley Nutrition Supplements and Supplies, Thomas Webb from DeHoff Realtors, Lanky Fight Gear, Red Tail Tattoo Company, Candry Law LLC, and last but not least, James Klingerman's BJJ Foundation. Check them out for amazing BJJ techniques, help, and instructionals. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope all you guys had an amazing holiday. Christmas, New Year's is right around the corner. This is actually our last show for the year, and it's an awesome one. We saved a great show. We're hanging out with the awesome Luke Griffith out of New Wave in Austin, Texas. He is a brown belt under John Danaher. And I think, is Gordon considered a coach for you too, Luke?
Yes, I would say under Gordon and Garry both as well.
And Garry as well. Okay, yeah. I thought so. I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't want to throw it out there. I tend to screw up the intros all the time. I'm an old guy, as everyone knows. So Luke, thanks so much, man, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to chat with you guys.
So Chad, we were just talking about, Luke's had a huge busy month, UFC Fight Pass, Nogi Worlds, right. ADCC. I mean, honestly, yeah, he hasn't really had any time off at all.
That's good way to end the year, right?
Absolutely. I really do prefer being busy as opposed to kind of not knowing when the next competition is going to be.
Sure.
It's nice sometimes you being like, okay, I don't have anything coming up for a little while, but it just kind of helps you just stay not motivated, but just committed. Where like, okay, I do have this and I have this coming up. So it kind of just helps you to stay on track with the training and whatnot,
Yeah. And I think it seems like in jiu-jitsu that you don't have camps like you do for fights, like MMA wise, right? Because we're always training. We're always, I would say, in shape, right?
Yes.
So like you said, staying active, if you get a call tonight, you're ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So,
yeah. No, which I was saying, which is exactly what happened with the UFC event. I went to Vegas just to help Gordon prepare, and ended up getting the call the morning before the event to say something happened to Vinny, and Nicky Rada jumped up into the super fight, and they had a vacant spot. And just thankful that I was actually there and ready to compete. That I actually got the opportunity to jump in and do that. It was a great experience to be a part of one of the biggest grappling shows, or the start of maybe one of the biggest grappling shows to come.
Sure. Right. Did it feel different? Did that show feel different than ADCC is, I love all of them, but
yes,
obviously ADCC is a different caliber. It was huge this year. It was awesome. But in your compared to other competitions, big competitions, because Luke, you've competed obviously at the highest level. Did it feel different?
So it definitely had a different feel to a lot of the, competitions I've done previously. Obviously ADCC was on such a large scale. That it's hard to compare anything to that, at least that I competed in. But in terms of a professional grappling show, it was run so smoothly. I only jumped in the day before, and the UFC guys took care of everything so professionally. Got me to do all the media stuff, and everything ran so smoothly that it really was something that was enjoyable. Like I really enjoyed competing for the show, so that was something that was really awesome.
And like you said, man, that's a huge opportunity experience. Obviously more eyes on our sport as a whole, obviously. And I know UFC, that's what they want to do. They want to build that up to have an opportunity for people to be able to watch, obviously, exciting and great matches. Which I'm all for. Obviously, I'm a match watcher versus an instructional, and it's mainly probably because I'm older. I do, and my coach was like, watch matches, watch matches and take privates with me.
Yes, it's always a good idea. It really is awesome. And even the UFC Fight Pass app. I downloaded it just after that, just to go back and watch it. The app is built so well. It's it's so easy to use, and it really looks very, very professional.
Yeah,
so
very
to go back and watch exactly. It was definitely awesome to be a part of that, and I'm looking forward to competing for them again.
Nice. When's your next? Do you have something on the horizon? Something big coming up? I know you're doing and we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And plug it and everything. You're doing a tour coming up soon here.
Yes. My sponsor, Roll Forever, they organize or help me organize all the seminars and stuff. And so basically, up until a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't able to earn money or even competition. Take cash prizes in the US because of my visa situation.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was in the process of applying for a P1 athlete visa, which was recently approved.
Good.
So as soon as that came through, I was able to start organizing all of the stuff, the workshops and whatnot. I can finally start receiving cash prizes and everything. So that makes everything a little bit easier,
Yeah. Heck yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. So February, I believe it's 10th through 13th. I will be in the North Carolina, West Virginia area.
Nice.
Doing a weekend there. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll just see where people reach out from and move on to the next, those areas afterwards.
Yeah. Blossom out. See how it goes and blossom out.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Good for you, man. I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're able to earn. That sucks. Like the thing about it, I was like, man, this could sound dumb, but for someone like myself, I would have no idea that you could.
Well, you wouldn't think. Yeah, you wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think that. Like, that's How long have you been here? When I say here, how long have you been in the United States?
So I came. I've been here now for about a year.
Okay.
I came the first time last year. I landed in Dallas, Texas. I think October 4th of 2021. So that was the first time I ever came to the US, and I was here up until May 3rd, 2022. Okay. That was when I flew to do the European trials, did the trials, and I went back to South Africa for 2 months because I could stay on a period of 6 months in the US on a tourist visa. So that was the original length of stay. So I went home for 2 months, and I just pretty much taught there and trained a little bit. But obviously, it wasn't the training that I was used to with John. So I got a little bit of out of shape there, but it was nice to kind of just see my family and teach a little bit, because I must say I really do enjoy teaching as well. And then from there, flew back and I had I think we did a 12-week camp for ADCC. So I was got home just in time for that.
Good.
Everything went really well, and so it's been just over a year now that I've been in the US.
Nice, awesome. That's very cool. And you're in a great spot of Austin, Texas.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean,
you guys have had some cold weather.
We've had a little bit of cold, but I suppose nothing compared to the East Coast. But for me, coming from South Africa, it's not at all as warm as I thought it was going to be. We were going out there. I think what was the coldest it was? It was about, I think it was 19 Fahrenheit here the other day.
Okay.
And man, I was dying. I walked outside and I was like, I need gloves, I need a beanie, I need warm clothes. It was crazy. But then I see some of these videos of like houses getting frozen over and stuff, like in the New York area and Montreal, Canada.
Right. Yeah.
Like, man, okay, I shouldn't complain.
It's not so bad. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it was about a week ago when me and Luke talked last, because you had Wi-Fi issues, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that it was a week ago. It was -5 here, -25 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
It
was cold. And today it's in the 50s. I'm like, what's happening?
It's crazy, right? I mean, what I think today is also like the highest 75 or something like that here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's overcast, but it's nice and warm at least. But yeah, the Wi-Fi really gave us some issues for a while. We got it sorted out only 2 days ago.
Wow.
But yeah, it was actually something that my cousin is with me. He's living with me at the moment. He's just staying with me.
Does he train? Does he train too?
He does. He's training with us as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So he's a blue belt, and he's trying to build himself up as well. As he wants to do this as a career. So
good for him, man.
Been here for a couple months, but the two of us, the power went off here for about, I'm going to say, an hour. And we were like, man, we were so annoyed. But then I thought about it. Back home, I'm speaking to my parents, and in South Africa, they have 4 hours of electricity every day. That's all they get.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. So the power station is like, so the company that runs the electrical in South Africa is so in debt that they can't afford to run the grid, 24/7.
Like all the time, yeah.
Yeah. So that they have what they call load shedding. And, so my dad phones, he's like, yeah, you guys got a little bit of a taste of what it used to be like, and I was like, man, I complained about 1 hour because I've been here for a year now. So you forget what it's like,
Yeah.
Like, oh man, everything works so nicely. And 1 hour, and I'm like, man, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, just, 4 hours a day compared to 1 hour that you didn't have electricity is not too bad.
Not bad.
That's probably helped you. I mean, that probably helps you in everything that you're doing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You grew up differently in terms of, like surroundings and environment and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's a lot different coming to America. You're like, what the heck? Like all these people have all this crap and all this stuff. And I lose power for an hour and I'm going, this is the worst day of my life.
Matt, I listen to everybody. One of the biggest things for me is in South Africa, there's no public transport whatsoever. I mean, we have like things called taxis, but they're pretty dangerous to get into. Like the cars are like held together with duct tape, like So if you don't have a car, it's difficult to get around. And everyone here is like, man, especially in Texas, like the public transport is so terrible. The first 6 months I was here, I was walking and taking the bus and the train. I was like, man, this is incredible that you can actually get around, using the bus and the train. Because at home you can't do this at all. And everyone's like, no, this is the worst public transport we've ever in the whole of America. I'm like, no, you guys don't know what's happening.
You're like, come home with me for a week.
Yeah,
you'll go.
Yeah, I will say I was eventually able to. I went out of the country and did a couple seminars, and it was able to save up enough to buy a truck here. Nice. an old, I think it's 2001 Chevy Silverado. I got it for like $3,000, so that was great. So it does make a difference that I have a car now, but I was like, man, it is actually doable to do it without a car.
Sure. And it depends on where you are. Like,
exactly.
Public transportation is better. Have you ever in your year time and was that the first time you ever been, like when you first came, that was your first time ever?
It was the first time. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been to a big city yet? Like New York or Chicago or anything? So wait till when you get to experience that, you'll be like, public transportation, like what the heck? I mean, obviously you've seen movies and shows, TV, whatever, yeah. But like legitly, like the first time I was ever in New York City, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is like, okay, what I see on TV is it. Just go with the flow, man.
Dude, it's ridiculous. We went years ago. We went to an IBJJF event in New York, and it's in Harlem. In one of the school built gyms or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And just trying to get to where you're going is crazy. If you don't know a subway, like how to get around, we got lost every time we went back.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
It's crazy.
The subways are colors, numbers, letters, and you're like, how does anyone know anything here? You just ride this all day?
Yeah. No, man. Thank goodness for Google Maps. I'll be honest with you. I mean,
yes.
Without that, I would have had a lot more issues, when I got here.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So how does a South African kid not play soccer or anything else and get into jiu-jitsu?
Okay, so I've been doing jiu-jitsu pretty much my whole life. My dad started to teach me when I was 5 years old. He grew up in a particularly rough area, in where close to where I grew up, but back in the day it was a lot rougher.
Sure.
And from his primary school, or what I don't know what you guys would call primary school, is like not kindergarten. Just one above?
Elementary. We call it like elementary school. Yeah.
That would be the one. So from his like elementary school days through his high school days, he got into a lot of fights. He didn't like bullies a lot, so let me just grab something to drink.
You're okay, man. Take your time. No worries.
Not used to talking so much. And so he, used to get in a lot of fights, either standing up for people or getting picked on. And at some stage, he decided that he wanted to try and do some kind of martial art to maybe make his chances a little bit better of winning.
Sure.
And so he started with karate, and he got all the way, I think, to his brown belt, almost his black belt. And he's like, man, I'm still getting beat up like 75% of the time. I gotta try something different. And he moved on to kickboxing. And this was like went from kickboxing into his adult years. And kickboxing was good for him. Obviously once he was out of school, he got into less fights, just in the street. But he did work as a bouncer as well at some point. So
nice.
he was using that. And then I think, I was born when he was 28, and he started around that time, 28, 29, when I was a baby. So by the time he was a purple belt, I was about 5 years old. He ordered the Gracie Combatives DVDs from Hino and Hannah.
Yeah.
And he still started my sister and I in like the garage of our house on that, for about 2 years. And then, we just never looked back.
That's very awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like, he took the initiative to do it because he knew, and I'm sure, like, and we hear this so much, and obviously we're growing the community and, as much as we can, obviously, in general. And obviously we have people like yourself, Gordon, John, like doing phenomenal things amongst many other people, to grow the community to get it as big as it is. But your dad probably didn't have any locations to train outside of like learning a lot of that stuff on his own and getting those DVDs like so many other people have in the past until they could get to someone. Does he still train now?
He does. Yes.
Ah, good for him, man. That's awesome.
Yes. So at the time there were, I'm going to say maybe like, I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to say like about 10 black belts in South Africa at the time.
Okay.
Spread out throughout the whole country, man. My bad.
You're good, man. You're all right.
Anyway, so there we go. That seems to fit it. Okay. So he was training about 45 minutes away from where we lived he still lives there, where I lived at the time. And he trained there pretty much his whole jiu-jitsu career up until the point where I was a purple belt. So 16, 17 years old. During that time, when he was, purple belt, blue belt, purple belt, he was watching Marcelo Garcia instructional DVDs and all that good stuff, the old school jiu-jitsu. And then by the time I started competing, BJJ Fanatics we'd heard about, and we started buying John and Gordon's DVDs and whatnot, and started drilling. I was fortunate enough that my dad had quite a large amount of property, so we have a swim school that we rent out on our property at home, and then we had a home gym as well. So we matted that whole space out. So I was able to train with my dad at home pretty much my whole life. So we drilled a lot through that area. And when I was, I'm going to say 17, I moved from the school that we were at to a Cobrinha affiliate in another location. So then from that, I trained there for about 2 years. And that was I'm going to say maybe not even 2 years, about a year before I decided that I wanted to try and compete internationally. And that was when I did my first ADCC European trials. Yeah. And I lost twice. I went and I lost. And then after the second time, I decided to fly directly from Europe to the US. So I went there with like 5 days worth of clothes, and I lost. And I was like, man, this sucks. I was like,
oh, you lost? They lost your clothes?
No.
Oh, I thought you said they lost.
I lost. Okay. No. I lost the event because I was meant to go.
Oh, you lost the event.
Like 5 days, okay. and then I was supposed to go home. And I was like, man, it sucks to lose. Like, obviously the training is not working as well as I wanted to. And then I spoke to my parents and was like, okay, well, let's change your flight to go to the US. And COVID was kind of still a thing at the time, so I had to quarantine in Dubai for 2 weeks.
Oh wow! Okay.
Trained in Dubai, and then flew to the US. Touched down in the US. 2 days later, competed at Nogi Worlds in Dallas. 2021. It was 2022. Yeah, or 2021. I can't even remember. And again, terrible performance. Won my first match, lost the second one. I was like, man, what is going on? Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And anyway, I traveled then from Dallas to Austin, and I started training with John at Henzo Gracie Austin, and he invited me to come and train at the Roku sessions with Gordon and Garry and Giancarlo at the time. And once I got a taste of that, it was like, man, okay, I actually just never want to leave. Originally the plan was to come for like 2 weeks, two weeks, and go home, get some experience. And that's just kind of how it got started. And from that moment on, I started competing. I started doing a little bit better, and started trying to plan to see what the route was for me to be able to stay here.
Sure. What is so awesome about that is, I mean, just my 2 cents is you got to face adversity quickly when you made that transition. You made that transition to start competing at a high level. You're like, I'm going to do this forever. Obviously, your father has taught you well, and now you just transition to obviously other great coaching and great teammates being around you. But man, that's awesome that I know people don't want to hear, like, losing sucks. It sucks at everything you do in your entire life. It doesn't matter if it's jiu-jitsu or not. It sucks. Like, losing's terrible. Like, my youngest son is just now starting to feel the emotion of losing. He's 9 years old. Plays every sport, and this year, just like losing, like they could have won to go to the championship game in basketball, and they lost. And I looked at him and he was almost crying. And I said, it's adversity, bud. Like, you're learning adversity. Like, this is going to happen. You just got to keep working, keep pushing yourself and believe in yourself, which you obviously, Luke, are doing and have done, and have good people surrounded around you, which is awesome because your future's super bright. I mean, you're 22 years old, man. It's like thank you
very much.
It's going to be, I can't wait to see like what you're going to continue to do, because watching you already is phenomenal. Like, seeing you, and I'm like, and he's a big guy. Like, I'm like, that's Terry right there. Not that good. No, but I'm a big guy. So
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate
for
that.
Sure, man.
Yeah. No, I really, I must say, I feel very blessed to be in the situation that I am in today. John, Gordon, and Garry have really helped me so much since I've been here. Like, the moment I got here, like I said to you guys, I had 5 t-shirts, 3 pairs of pants, and like 3 rash guards, when I got here.
Sure.
And I haven't bought any clothing. Gordon literally gave me all the clothes I have.
Nice.
He looked after me. Sometimes if like the bus wasn't working, it's like he'd come pick me up, take me to the gym, even if it was an inconvenience to him. And at the time, I still feel like I'm nobody, but, maybe a little bit of a bigger name right now, but there was no benefit to him helping me in the beginning at all, and he still did that. So I must say, I'm very, very grateful to be surrounded by people like that, Yeah,
it pays dividends to be surrounded by good people. I tell people all the time, like, if you don't, how to do this. I mean, everyone out there that's very smart and intelligent people, like, surround yourself with good people. It's not like, hey, I'm just going to use all these people. It's like, no, I want people to be around me that's going to take care of me, because I'm going to do the same for them. You care for them as much as they care for you, because they've done this. They've taken you like under the wing. They're like, hey, and your potential is phenomenal, and social media aside, like, people always, like, comments will come up, or you'll read stuff or whatever. And those guys, Garry and Gordon, and they get chopped down from haters out there. But I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, you have no idea how smart these guys are. Like, they care about people. It's not that this is a social media thing. Like, in real life, like, they care about people, man. Like, stop being stupid. No, for sure. I mean, Gordon, look, I will say one thing about Gordon is that his social media personality and his personality in real life are the same, but people don't pay attention to what it is, right? Right. If you're nice to Gordon on social media, he's nice back to you. Right, for sure.
And if you're a good, and it's the same in real life. If you're nice to him, he's nice to you.
Right.
But if you're like kind of a dick towards him on social media or in real life, then he's like, okay, well then, screw you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how it is.
And that's real life. Like, honestly,
exactly.
Like, if someone's crappy to me, I'm like, I'm not giving you the time or place. Like, I'm not wasting my time. Like, what am I doing here? Like, no, I want good people around me, because it's only going to project me to be better, and them, like, they're going to feel good about themselves. And I want a challenger around me, like someone that's going to, push me and stuff like that. But still, like, well, that's good. And you're in a great place.
Absolutely. And there's always going to be people who who want to see you, fail. So there's no really way to get around that. You just got to, push them aside and keep moving forward. Yeah.
Especially with the growth of jiu-jitsu. Like, jiu-jitsu is becoming, I mean, I don't want to say it's super mainstream, but we're there. We're getting there. It's
getting close. Yeah.
ADCC, obviously we talked about it. It's the biggest ADCC that we've ever seen. And I still keep plugging, cheap plug. Chad and I would like to go to the next ADCC when
media, right?
Media, right. I was like, can we get our media credentials? Like, can we just talk to people, walk around? Like, I joke about this every show, Luke. No different. I'm always joking, like, hey, anyone out there want to take us to ADCC?
Yeah.
Next time, 2024.
You know what? I'll see what I can do.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to the next one. Obviously, so Big Dan and myself will both be going back to the trials. But I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's kind of a nice warm up to see. And also, I mean, the trials in Europe are getting tougher, man. There's a lot of guys from from the UK and sort of surrounding areas that are very good, coming up. So it's a nice little kind of warm up to the event, just to get to practice the rule set.
That's what I love about it too so much. It's to be able to do that, to watch the European trials on Flow Grappling, which I love because they cover it all, so I can see all this stuff. Is that we're seeing, like I'm in my own little bubble. I'm in the United States. You know what I mean? So I'm in this bubble of only seeing it here, and I want to see it in other countries because I want to see everyone succeed, and I want to see everyone do jiu-jitsu. I mean, let's be honest. It save your life and make your life a lot better, not just from saving it, mentally, physically, all of that. We've said it before. I'll say it again. But I love to see that other people. It's like, oh, who's that person? Oh, who's that person? Who's Luke Griffith? Oh, this kid from South Africa that's like tearing it up. So very cool.
No, it really is awesome. I mean, it's been I'll be honest with you guys. I for a lot of my childhood, I actually disliked jiu-jitsu. It was something that my dad wanted me to train because he's like, if you ever need this, it's a good tool to have. And I was like, man, I was kind of lazy. I just wanted to, sit on the couch, watch TV, and he's like, just push through a little bit. This is the adversity part. Just keep going. You might not like it now, but it'll be useful eventually. And by the time I was like 14, 15, I was like, Dad, you were actually right. I think I like this a lot.
Nice.
And I'm so glad he actually didn't let me quit when I just because my mind was weak and I didn't feel like doing something at the time, because to be able to be one of the first South Africans to do this is really something special to me.
Sure.
And I'd like to inspire young kids from South Africa to pursue a career in jiu-jitsu. So I'm really, really grateful for the opportunities that have presented themselves to me.
That's huge, man. I mean, that's you're right. I mean, you're the face of young South African kids or any person that wants to train it and thinks they never. I told you earlier, I'm 45 years old. I started my jiu-jitsu career almost 3 years ago. I'm very green hobbyist. I always will be, but you inspire guys my age in your country. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and I want to say your country. I'm gonna say South Africa because this country that we're in right now, that you're in, is just as much of yours as anyone else that's freaking here. I don't care what anyone says. So anyway, I always do that because I always hate when people are like, oh, well, this, and it's like, no, man, you're part of the family, man. You're here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah. Hey, I do need to know this though.
Yes.
Has the master become better than the student? As in, have you given your father the business yet with jiu-jitsu? Does he still give it to you?
No, my dad is a very tough guy, but honestly, I don't even like rolling with him. I love to drill with him, but I just feel too bad to do anything to him. I can't
smash him,
I sometimes I roll with him a little bit, but I can never go like full tilt against him. I feel too bad. But he's still tough. He works out a lot and he's in good shape. He's 50 now. I think he's turning 51 in March.
Good for him, man.
But yeah, he still gives it a good go, and he's still teaching back at home.
Good.
So he enjoys it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Do your parents get to come here ever and see you, or have they gotten to?
They have, yeah. They were just here for like 2 months. They came to watch ADCC and they stayed for a little bit afterwards. Very cool. And then they left back. I think it was November, like midway through November. They left back home. Yeah. So my whole family was here, basically. My sister, my mom, and my dad.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's very awesome. Is your sister still training?
Yeah, she's still training. She just got her blue belt. I was like, man, this jiu-jitsu thing, I try to take it to get away from my family, and everyone just followed me here. But no, so my cousin and my sister are both trying to pursue jiu-jitsu as a career as well.
Good for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, look, if it's I've told people my entire life, if you wake up every day and you're unhappy doing what you're doing, but you're just doing it to get a paycheck, then you need to find something else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're taking years off your life, man, by doing that. Even though you're probably taking years off your life with jiu-jitsu. I'm kidding.
100%. I agree with you. I woke up this morning. Like yesterday was a tough training day for me. And I was like, one of those days where I struggled a little bit, and I still, I finished both the sessions, and I still had to go lift weights. And I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. And I was so grateful that I actually had my cousin with me to say, listen, like, I know you feel like you're trash right now, but let's just go lift anyway, But
Sure.
it's like, okay, just get it done, one step at a time. And, eventually at the end of the day, you can rest. But I woke up this morning, to your point of years off your life, and I was like, man, I felt that. I absolutely felt that,
Yeah. Those are the greatest ones, honestly, when you feel them, because then all right, I didn't want to do it, and now I really hurt, but it's all going to be worth it, right?
Exactly. But yeah.
How different did it feel when you first started training here in the United States with John and Gordon and Garry and stuff?
So
did it feel much different?
It did feel a lot different. Okay. I think obviously just the the realization that the caliber of people that you're training with is just so far above what you're used to.
Sure.
was pretty big to me. And also just to know that, okay, exactly what John's teaching, like, sometimes maybe you go to a jiu-jitsu class and you question, like, okay, man, is this, like, you watch things and you're like, is this really actually, is this going to work? I've been to a couple classes back home where someone teaches something and you're like, I don't really know about this, but you listen to John teach and you look at, what his students have done, and you're like, you can't question anything that he teaches at all. Like, everything just makes complete sense. And the way that he teaches is so technically advanced, but so simplified that it's so easy to understand. And the rate that I've been able to progress learning from him in such a short amount of time is just, is incredible to me. Just, I look back at a year ago and I look at the way that I used to grapple. I'm like, man, it's, today and then is two completely different grapplers. Even if I take 2 months ago and I look 2 months back,
sure.
It's, I can see evolution, so I really do think that the way that John teaches is just so far superior to anything else I've experienced. I mean, I haven't experienced everything, but I definitely think that it's different to anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's huge. So we had John Carlo up for a seminar a couple months ago, right? He was up for our annual charity seminar, and that's how I heard your name.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
He was. We were getting ready to leave. It was just me and him. He's like, "Hey, I got somebody for your podcast," because he was on ours.
He was on the show too. Yeah.
He was on ours when we first started. He's like, "You need to get Luke on." But at the end of the seminar, he was doing a Q&A, right?
Yes.
And we're always waiting for like this answer.
Aha moment. Like
this aha moment.
Right.
And somebody
this
said,
was one of the greatest parts of that whole seminar.
Yeah. And I wish as a coach, I wish I would have stopped the seminar and made people realize what John Carlo said. Somebody's like, well, what do you do? Do you do specific training, or what do you do when you go to the gym? He's like, whatever John tells me to do. Like, every answer came back to whatever John tells me to do. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen to your coach. They know what they're doing. Have faith in the people that are teaching you. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. That's
people were waiting for like this big, like, boom explosion, like, oh, there's magic and John does this and does this and Gordon does this and does this, and it goes, no, they teach, he teaches, and we do, like John Carlo was like, we do what he tells us to do. Like, we're going to train a sweep that everyone here knows, but that's what we're going to do. But we're going to get precision and break it down even more. You know what I mean? And I go, to me, that's pure jiu-jitsu. Like, when I sat back and he was saying it, I was like, sweet. This is exactly what I was hoping to hear.
I mean, just for an example of that, doing something that you've done 1,000 times where, John asks you to do it and everyone does it during the ADCC camp. And I mean, after each class, we would do like a single leg creativity drill where someone pick up a single and you just bounce around, playing around, people try and put you down and you just, balancing, good defensive hand position, head position, playing around. And we did that every day for like 2 months, and I think ADCC happened, and I don't think one of our guys was put down with a single leg. I think, Nicholas, I think Ty Rotola picked up a single leg. Uchimaru him off the single. Like, you look at that and you're like, man, John made us do this thing every single day. And then you look at competition, you're like, man, it absolutely paid off. Like, not one of us was put down with a single at all.
If you go back and listen to all the matches from your team, the announcers even talk about the defense. So
Yes.
like just listening, I pay attention a lot of this. Maybe some people are like, you're stupid, you don't need to pay attention. I was like, no, I listen to this stuff. So they're like, they would talk about the defense. And I remember what you're talking about when Nick, his defense to keep Ty off of his leg like that whole time. And it was like, wow. Yeah, like I get it. And now it makes complete sense. Like my loop is closed, but you can just saying, we worked on it, which anyone out there and everyone out there is listening, man, like this is serious. Like if this is what you want to do, this is what you need to do. I mean, Chad tells me all the time, he's like, keep practicing that, keep doing that all the time.
No, absolutely. It's very, very important, to drill things over and over and over again. And, become a master at everything.
For sure.
And I watched something the other day about Gordon, and it was like, everyone says, jack of all trades, master of none. But what happens when you get somebody who's a jack of all trades and he's mastered all of them? And that's Gordon.
Right. No kidding.
And that's the goal, really. So it was quite a good way of putting
it's like, I mean, we talk about Bruce Lee. I mean, Bruce Lee talked about like the man who, what the 10,000 kick versus the one of many type thing. It's the same exact thing. Like, do it 10,000 times. And then it's like, you build that muscle memory so clear and so well that nothing ever is a phase for you or a scare when you're in a certain position, because you've already been there so many times that you already know how to defend it. Now, things are going to happen. That's jiu-jitsu.
For sure.
That's, that's just this sport that we do. From hobbyist to as yourself a professional. I'm going to call you a professional. I would think you're a professional.
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, you are, man. I mean, obviously, doing what you're doing, and obviously, like I said earlier, your future's super bright. But it's truth, right, Chad?
Yeah.
You say?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to drill the stuff. I mean, I think in today's world with all the way we can stream techniques and YouTube and all that, it's easy to get off course and want to practice everything. Yeah. I'm not saying, and obviously, we're not saying don't learn everything, but you have to drill some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like I always.
Good. Yeah, it's good because I mean, you look at all these other gyms as well, and everybody. It's easy to train hard, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody can train hard and be like, oh, I'm just gonna put all my energy into training as hard as I possibly can. But it's not easy to train smart, because you train with your mind just as much as you train with your body. So it's easy to kind of just switch off your mind and put in all the physical activity, but your mind has to be working and thinking just as much as your body is exerting effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%. That's what I mean. It's a huge, beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, because, and one of the huge things that attracted me, because it was not just a physical thing, it was a mental thing. It was a mind, puzzle constantly. You're constantly trying to figure something out, and once you get those pieces and you start chaining them together, obviously things get better. Then you want to go on to something else and try to better that, whatever. On your side, you're fast paced. like you gotta learn everything. I'm joking. Like,
I know. No, look, it is it is sometimes frustrating, because some things you learn quicker than others, and you're like,
sure,
there's a move that maybe John shows, and you see everyone else hitting it, you're like, man, I just can't hit this. And you keep practicing it, and eventually, it kicks. So maybe some moves take you longer to learn than others. But as long as you keep practicing, everything will eventually, come.
And that's good that you bring that up, because I think that's such a deterrent from people in jiu-jitsu that they expect it to be like this.
Yeah.
And it's not always like that. It's not always quick and just in it right away. Like sometimes you can look over and you're like, man, don't compare yourself with that person doing it, because they could be doing it phenomenal. Like, don't compare yourself to Luke. When you see Luke in the gym and you're like, what the heck, man? Like, I want to do that. He's doing it phenomenal. We just did it and I can't do that at all. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, and there's too many people, I think, that end up doing that and they end up walking away from it. And it's like, man, if we can get you guys out there to change your mindset and really focus on yourself, then
No, I mean, people have different rates of learning, but that doesn't mean that you're still spending the time on the mat. You're still there, you're still practicing. So maybe you don't get it right now, but that mat time is never wasted.
Mm-hmm.
So
even if you're on the mat just hanging out because you need a day to be on the mat.
I'll be honest with you. Man. If I'm injured or I feel like I can't roll, I absolutely try not to miss a session. Even just watching and listening to John teach, I feel like I learn something every single time. I think it's super important that even if you aren't training physically, that mentally you should be there.
Yeah. Definitely. For sure.
That's where I'm going to be at right now. I hurt my knee pretty bad last Thursday. It's my first it's my first major injury in 18 years of jiu-jitsu. Like, I feel like I've trained smart and not trained when I should, So now I'm going to have other people teaching the classes for me, but my goal is to still put my gi on and still be in class.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's sometimes that's hard. Like,
it is.
Because you're like, I want to so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be tough,
for sure.
That's what happens when you get super old like Chad and you grow this glorious beard. The body starts falling apart.
I'll be honest with you guys, man. I'm looking, both of your beards are much better than mine. I'm like, man, like I got patches all over, and I'm like, I've been trying to grow this thing out for like 4 months, and this is all I've got,
It's all right. It's a start, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So, hey man, do you have any other hobbies? Do you like to do anything else besides jiu-jitsu?
I'll be honest with you. Since I've been in the US, I haven't even had time to do anything else.
Okay.
I haven't even explored that much of Austin. I mean, I've been downtown a couple times with some friends to eat, but I haven't done anything besides, go to Barton Springs, which is the, like the local pool to go and to swim in the summertime.
Oh, nice. Right. Okay.
But between that and training, there's really not much time for anything else.
Yeah, when you're a professional, man, I mean, you're pushing that ladder or climbing that ladder to get to be to the peak that you want to be. Like, I know you have a goal, I'm sure you do, and obviously. So yeah, you don't really, Luke, no time for you. You can't go out and play. No play for you.
I must say, I'm a little bit strict with myself. But I find it very easy. Like, a lot of people need, like social interaction. Yeah. Whereas for me, I get enough social interaction at training. Like, I don't have to get that much of it outside of training. So for me to come home and, to cook and to get a good night's sleep it's a lot easier for me than, I'll give my sister for an example. Is she loves social interaction, so she likes to go out with her friends and have coffee, which is a good thing as well,
Sure.
But but thankfully, I'm going to say thankfully, because I think it aids, kind of the goal that I'm working towards. That I don't need that, and I can, after training, I can't be by myself, just rest, recover, and do what I need to do. So yeah, I don't really allow myself to do much outside of training.
He's an introvert, Chad. He's an introvert.
Yes,
personality.
I am.
Chad is an introvert. I'm an introvert until I'm comfortable, even though we do a podcast.
But I think
kind of funny.
At the same time, we're all social people. We're just social with the people we want to be social with. Exactly. It's our jiu-jitsu friends, right? We don't need to go out and do other things. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, you're spending so much time with these people as well that you begin to know them much more intimately than you would know regular people outside, anyway. So it's definitely not that you don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Right. And they become, I mean, we've said it many times, and I've said it even, I didn't know I was going to find the family that I was like forever looking for, type deal. And like jiu-jitsu brings that to you. And you go there, you're like, I can like tell intimate have intimate conversations or tell them about stuff that happened outside of the gym that I thought was hilarious that I would never talk to anybody else about. And then I'd be telling someone the story at the gym because I'm like, oh, it's like my brother and my sister over there. So, or whatever, you know what I mean?
100%. 100%. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about jiu-jitsu too. I don't know if it's just the time we put in and the sweat and all that stuff we're emotional people too. Right? Like,
Indeed.
You can start talking to another fellow guy and you start tearing up about something. Like, I don't know what, I saw a video the other day of Joe Rogan talking about when Eddie Bravo beat Hoyler. And Joe was there and he actually started crying. Like, not, it was a show this week, and just telling the story, he got emotional and started crying about it.
Yeah.
It's something about what we put in with each other that brings that out, I think. In a good way, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you, Luke, did you watch a lot of jiu-jitsu, like growing up in general, or and obviously social media, you are the life of social media. You are that age of everything is in there. You know what I mean? So you've been around it, you've seen it, you've got to see the coming of the age of how it's been integrated with everything that we do throughout our entire lives, pretty much.
Yes.
Now, I mean, through our daily lives now. I was just curious, like, did you watch a lot then since you were not in the United States?
Yeah. So I definitely, the last, I'm going to say 4 years of like my life, I watched a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I would, previous to coming here, in between training, I would study, John and Gordon's instructions. I would say between like 3 and 4 hours a day.
Nice. Wow.
So what I love to do was, listen, I'd watch whatever I was watching, and then I'd rewind it, and then I'd play it, and I'd write out like word for word what John was saying. So that way I was trying to like explain it to myself, and it took a lot of time. So I definitely enjoyed doing that. I don't do it as much anymore because now I'm learning directly.
But you're there, man. You're live.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely do enjoy studying, and it's something that if I do get myself into, I kind of what is the word I'm looking for? Kind of get addicted pretty quickly, and I can fall into a trap of just being encased and just watching tape.
Yeah, you get those blinders on. You get blinders on and just keep going.
Yeah, which I don't think is a bad thing. It happens from time to time, and I quite enjoy it. And then just watching matches as well. I used to watch a lot of matches. Older matches, like the early EBIs with Gordon and Garry and Eddie, all those guys. I really enjoyed watching all of those, and those are kind of what pushed me more towards like the no-gi side of things, because I previously trained mostly in the gi in South Africa. So watching that sort of thing and just seeing the trajectory of where no-gi was going kind of pushed me in that direction. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that I got a big influence from watching jiu-jitsu.
Do you train both now, or just strictly just stay in no-gi, obviously, for now?
Yeah, so for now it's mainly no-gi, but with Marigali training with us now, I'm sure at some point he will do another gi camp, and I'm quite interested to see. I'd like to do that with him, and we'll see. Maybe I'll do like a major in the gi for IBJJF. We'll see. I'm still deciding. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, your jiu-jitsu's there, man. Like, don't think that it's not. Like, it's
no. I'm not too worried about the jiu-jitsu, but my the last time I put my gi on was for like a week during Nicholas's World Camp, and man, my fingers just weren't used to the grips, man. Like that, my fingers were completely raw. So I mean, it'll take me a little while to get used to it again. I'll have to tape my fingers up and whatnot. But
hey, we can help.
Send us your address, and I'll set Chad and I will send you some tape. We have our own finger tape business.
Okay, sounds
great. LimitLess tape,
sounds
man. We'll send you some black tape that'll
sounds good.
Let us know. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But
Nicholas, you're ready to go. Fingers are taped. You can grab all day.
Everything's up. But yeah, I'd like to see like to do a full camp in the gi, and then and see how I'm feeling, and then decide. But like I said, it's all good experience as well. I know Nicholas definitely wants to do more competitions. Giancarlo wants to compete in the gi as well. So if everyone's doing it, I might as well jump in.
Yeah, awesome, sure. Why not? For sure, definitely.
Then what if we'll see? Cool. You think we'll ever see Gordon compete in the gi?
There's a chance. There's
a rumor, a little rumor. Yeah,
there's a chance.
I saw he posted on social media not too long ago, and he had a gi on. It's like question mark. I'm like, he'll be just fine.
Man. He'll be more than fine.
Yeah.
I've seen him train with a lot of I won't say any names, but big names to the gi, and in the training room, it's not even close, even in the gi.
Yeah.
So. It's really phenomenal how he can translate his jiu-jitsu to gi and no gi, even without training so frequently in the gi.
He's a super smart kid, man. Or I say kid. He's a super smart young man. I'm not going to call him
that. I love him. It comes down to being good at jiu-jitsu. We said,
exactly.
When I was coming up, it was Marcelo Garcia, right? So Marcelo was a gi guy who trained no gi like once a week or something crazy, but then he went out and won ADCC and just beat everybody. So a lot of it just comes down to being good at jiu-jitsu. Right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of times now, gi and no gi, people, especially people who are competing, and a lot of gyms train to win, but they don't train to do jiu-jitsu, right? So they're not actually doing jiu-jitsu. They're, winning by an advantage, or,
training to the rule set, right?
Exactly. Which I think is to the detriment of your skill development,
Sure.
those advantages in the points, you'll get those if you're good at jiu-jitsu. You mount someone, you take someone's back, you're going to get those points anyway. But,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's something that people need to start expanding in their training.
Luke, for you, for the UFC Fight Pass, was that was that different? Because I know it was EBI style rules.
Yeah.
Was that a little? Were you like, oh, wait a minute, or were you used to it?
I was actually pretty used to it. We've been
Good.
training. We were training EBI anyway because obviously Big Dan and Gordon and Oliver were competing in it. So we were training that rule set anyway. And I competed at the EBI Absolute. I'm going to say a month prior to that anyway.
Okay.
So I was pretty well versed. It is one of my more favorite rule sets in Nogi. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, it was good. It's
interesting because I'm pretty green, obviously, to watching jiu-jitsu as well. So this past season, when EBI, the tournament that was on not too long ago, that Giancarlo competed in, when he hurt his ribs, I believe.
Yes.
That was the first time I've got to watch like a full EBI rule set type and everything. And I was like, wow, like I loved it because it seems so much harder for you guys because of the overtime rules. Like obviously if you didn't go into overtime, it was straight up jiu-jitsu, watching it wise. But when it went to overtime, I was like, holy mackerel. I'm like, this is cool. I love it. I'm a payer. I'll watch it. No competing in that for me.
Yeah, it definitely can be one of the most exciting rule sets, but it is also the downside where people are now kind of playing a cagey stally game to get to the overtime.
To get you over,
So that okay.
So you have both sides of the coin on that one.
Yeah. So again, it's like you said, it's detrimental. People are playing to these rule sets versus just doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So if you're doing
that makes a lot of sense.
No matter what Luke is doing, you're gonna have the same game plan, right?
Yeah.
No matter if it's IBJJF or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to try to finish.
Exactly. And I think that's what jiu-jitsu is about, right? You want to try and dominate and submit your opponent. And I think that people sometimes take it to the extent where it's like, oh, it doesn't really matter how you win an advantage, and people rip their gi open and start screaming. You're like,
right, exactly.
And I'm all for celebration. I'm not. I think it's great, but I think that celebration definitely needs to be earned.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like I'm all for celebration, but I'm also for earn that celebration, man.
Yes, exactly.
Don't celebrate if you just kind of sat there. Like when I'm watching things and I go, when someone gets up and they to each their own. I'm not going to downgrade anybody. I'm not knocking anybody,
exactly.
but to stand up and scream and holler. And it's like, you didn't do anything for 10 minutes. I don't really understand that, but hey, but then again, I don't know anything. So everyone can attack me all they want because I don't know. So.
I agree. It is what it is though. I suppose, there's, things that people won't like and in any kind of sport. So I suppose there is something that you're always going to have to deal with. I mean, Gordon and John, speak about it a lot. People inevitably are going to play stally games, and eventually you have to get to the point where you're good enough to overcome that and win anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's one thing about ADCC that just fixated on it watching it was that it was action the entire time. Every one of your guys' matches, gals matches, from the open to everything through was just good. I mean, for me, I watch it and I was like, wow, obviously the show was fantastic. It was put on very well. And the entertainment, I mean, you guys left it on the mats, Yeah.
And I mean, that's another thing that entertainment is, John's spoken to us about as well, is that we are in the entertainment business, as much as, you want to win, people are paying to watch you as well. So, there's the pressure of winning, but also, being an entertaining, performer, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah. There is a classification of that to fall in with professionals, and I want to see it, not just because I'm paid, or not because I'm paid. I'm not getting paid. Anybody out there wants to pay us, but because you're not just because you're getting paid or whatever, but it's like it's a part of giving to the community as well, like elevating it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, hey, let's elevate this, because we hear it, we see it, we read it in social media, talk on shows, a lot of great podcasts out there, obviously doing what we do. Want every one of them to be successful, because I think it's going to elevate our community. We want as many people talking about jiu-jitsu because it's the best by far on the planet. I don't care where you're from, where you're at, whatever. We know this, you know. So
no, I agree.
Big deal.
I agree.
You know, good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, man, we kept you for a solid hour of your life. Why don't you do this, man? Anything you want to say, and I'm not put you on a spot, but tell everyone how to get to you on social media, what's up and coming. Everything will be in the show notes so they can click on it. I know you're going to be doing a tour. We talked about it earlier in the show. We want people to be able to, if they're in that area listening to the show, I want them to be able to get to you, be able to come check you out, get a seminar, get you some cash. Get some cash in Luke's pocket, everybody out there.
If anyone wants to send me anything, I'm more than happy to accept.
Yes, for sure. Please do, everybody. And all your sponsors, anyone that's sponsoring and everything, man.
So biggest sponsor, they really help me out with everything is Roll Forever. If you guys support them, you're supporting athletes. They don't take any of the profits for themselves. Everything is put back into the athletes they sponsor. So it's been really awesome to be able to work with a company that is not really just looking out for their interest, but the interest of the athletes that they're sponsoring. So I wouldn't even be able to be in the US without them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, shout out to Roll Forever. And then you guys can find me on Instagram at Luke_Griffith Jiu-Jitsu JJ. And as far as what's coming up, January 22nd is a potential super fight up in Houston. I believe it might be on UFC Fight Pass. I'm not too sure about that. I could be mistaken. I'm still working out the details of that match, but I think that's probably going to be the next one that's coming up.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Luke, for everything, man, for doing what you're doing, for competing, being a professional, for giving us the time to come on the show and just, talk to a bunch of old guys about jiu-jitsu. Appreciate it greatly.
Thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome,
man.
Well, God bless you and everything that you're about to do and everything you have done, and keep doing it, man. And don't forget, message Chad or send him your address, and I'll get some tape in the mail out to you. And then,
sounds great.
If you ever need anything down the road or need to talk about anything, want anything more than just social media and want to talk about a topic, holler, let us know, man. Come back on and we can chat about it, my friend.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
You too, man. We'll see you, brother.
See you guys.
Later.
Bye.